there, family. Pastor Andre here. Listen, we're in the middle of this special family season, the season of sharing. It's also a time where our children have a reprieve from school. They've got some free time. So I wanted to come and just love on all our students. You know, if you are one of the students here at First Tabernacle, I want you to know your pastor, your first lady, your student pastor, all of our staff, all of our leaders, we miss all of our children. We love the children at Tabernacle. And if you are a student and you don't have a church, your family's not in a church, listen, I want you to be a Tabernacle because we absolutely love you and we're doing everything that we can to build up students. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is I just wanted to come into space and be an encourager and spend a little time with our students and just read a book. Have a little read along. So I want you to find a comfortable place. Find a comfortable place. We're going to spend just a few minutes, read through a great book. I'm going to show you some pictures as I'm reading, and we're just going to have a fun moment here together. I just wanted to come and spend a moment with you, with your family, just invade your space for a minute and let you know we absolutely love you. So I'm going to do this today, and today's just a good children's storybook, right? But Thursday, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to read something that is way more Christmas oriented, but tonight's not that night. Tonight's just a good story. So pull up a chair or sit on the floor or find a good comfortable space, and let's read. So tonight, I want to introduce you to a book by a local author, a great book by a great friend of mine, a good sister in Christ. It's called Aikio Learns to Fish. Aikio Learns to Fish. It's a great book by Sonja R. Scott. So let's read. The fiery sun rises over Toro Bay, and the men of Sado Island migrate or move towards the white rocky shores. Every morning they leave their uchi, their homes, near the Naji forest to fish in the vast ocean surrounding the island. For generations, these great fishermen have caught the giant yellowtail, the enormous mackerel, and the big bluefin tuna, Aikio's favorite fish. Aikio and his mother, Kaori, watch the flurry burst of activity from their tiny uchi, perched on the highest cliff above Toro Bay. Kaori watches with concern as the men and their able sons prepare to venture out to sea. Aikio watches with dread and fear as he knows that he soon will have to fish alongside his father, Makato, as this is the tradition of the men of Sado Island. Down at the shore, Makato kneels beside his sabani, a big wooden boat, and mends the tiny holes caused by sharp rocks at the mouth of the bay. He works steadily and patiently as the morning sun rises. One day soon, Makato whispers to himself, Aikio must learn to mend the twin nets with patience and care. I am sure he will learn how to fish soon. While his mother goes about her morning chores, Aikio is left peering over the vast blueness speckled with miniature men in their sabanis. As the boats sail beyond the horizon, the ocean seems to swallow both the men and the boats whole. After completing his daily chores, Aikio uses an empty Pacific clam shell to scoop up anchovies and black striped sardines from the shallow turquoise water. This is the only way I will ever catch fish, Aikio whines. He begins to think about how small he is in comparison to the other boys on the island, glancing at his arms and his slender legs in disapproval. When will I have strong arms like my father? How will I be able to pull up the large nets, row against the pounding waves, or lift the sails to capture the winds? Questions Aikio. The fear in his mind triggers a swell of negative thoughts. In a moment of despair and frustration, Aikio mutters to himself, "I will never learn to fish." He drops the shell to the ground. Running and hopping along the tiny rock formations that sprout randomly along the shoreline, Aikio and his friends hunt for mysterious sea dragons that live in the nearby ocean caves. On these humid summer days, they swim in the shallow pools formed by the high tides. And for these adventures, his mother always packs 6 tiny snacks of maguro sashimi. Aikio relishes the flavor of these small bites of raw tuna wrapped in shiso leaves. Aikio loves small things. He recalls his collection of seashells scattered on his windowsill, tiny, pink, blue, and mauve. Every day, Aikio rearranges his collection. That same evening, as the fading sun begins to cast strange shadows on the towering tall rocks over Toro Bay, Aikio plays in the shallow pools of water, collecting tiny black tiger shrimp in a wooden bowl. He spots his father's Sabane on the horizon. Slowly, Mikado rows his boat closer until he reaches the shores of Toro Bay. Aikio notices that his father looks very tired. Harsh lines gather along the brows of Mikado, his eyes telling of many hours at sea. Father inquires Aikio, "You look very tired today. What is the matter?" Aikio says, "Mikado," in a gentle voice, "it is time that you learn how to fish for the bluefin tuna. I am growing old. You must learn how to fish like the other boys your age on the island." But Aikio likes to help his mother instead. They gather seaweed and sea cucumbers in her tugboat in the shallow bay. The small, round wooden boat is just large enough for Aikio, his mother, and a large catch of wakame seaweed. Being with his mother is safe and comfortable. While staring down into the cool water colored with ribbons of seaweed and blue, Aikio begins to feel unsure that he could even cast the net far enough to catch the big blue fin tuna. What if the other fathers and their sons laugh at me? He whispers to himself. Perhaps I cannot catch big fish like they can. Anxiety fills Aikio's mind as he sees his father in the distance returning home. Mikado pulls his Sabane on the shore, hoists the catch of fish on his back, and walks slowly towards their uchi. Back at his uchi, Aikio is quiet during dinner. He eats very little of his meal of miso soup, rice, and aika shishimi. "My son," inquires Mikado, "why are you so concerned and sullen? I will teach you how to fish, just as my father taught me many years ago. You were created to learn. As Mikado recalls the experience, a warm smile envelops his face. In the morning, we will start. Remember, you must see yourself fishing. Then you will fish, he declares. Mikado, rising from his zaputon or cushion, gently admires his wife Kaori sitting across the katatsu, a low sitting table used for dining. He pats his son on the shoulder, then calmly strolls to the window for a glance at the shimmering waves dancing with the moon over Toro Bay. Aikyo sits confused. What does his father mean by "you must see yourself fishing, then you will fish"? It will all be very clear tomorrow, whispers his mother. You will catch big fish, just as your father and all of the men of the Miyako family, she adds with a smile. Now it is time for bed, my son. Try to get some rest. Soon you will fish, his mother, Kaori, repeats. Questions swirl in Aikyo's mind as he drifts off to sleep. As fearful thoughts replay in his mind, Aikyo begins to dream of a giant bluefin tuna swallowing little boys. The next morning, Aikyo slowly rises from his mat, not wanting to go with his father out to the big ocean. I can only catch small fish, not big fish, Aikyo moans to himself. As Mikado and Aikyo leave their house, Kaori quickly gives them a breakfast of hot broth made of seaweed and tiny bites of tasty smoked eel. They drink their broth before Mikado leads his son deep into the mysterious Nagi forest. For what seems like hours, they silently walk through the ancient old forest of trees, red maple, camphor, and elm. A few rays of sunlight pierce the thick canopy above, and dense moss carpets the forest floor underfoot. The serene setting rejuvenates Aikyo and his father as they finally reach Kamo Lake. The clear, tranquil shores sparkle like tiny diamonds in the morning sun. The elders of Sado Island tell tales of strange animals that roam along those shores, but Aikyo tries to remove fear from his mind and replace the doubt. Still, his mind goes back to thoughts of his thin arms and frail legs. Where are we? Asked Aikyo. He never ventures this far from home. I thought you were going to teach me how to fish in the huge ocean, father, inquires the little boy. First, my son, I want to prepare you to catch the fish just as my father prepared me many years ago. Here, Aikyo, sit on this kasagu cedar log. There, side by side, Aikyo and his father rest in silence. Aikyo sits in fear. Mikado sits in expectation. The beauty of the forest is breathtaking as the pale yellow morning sun breaks through the patchy columns of fog that linger above the still waters of Kamo Lake. The faint smell of lotus flowers and wild cinnamon trees calms the tense feelings that engulf Aikyo. Suddenly, he becomes aware of a white shadow moving along the shore. It is a swan. Swarms of cicadas and dragonflies scatter like a crowd of loyal subjects parting the way for their queen as the graceful white bird approaches the pair. Good morning, Ohio, whispers the swan. Be peaceful, Aikio. You will learn much more with a smile on your face and peace in your heart as you catch big fish today. Aikio is stunned. The swan continues to swim past them, heads toward the center of the lake, and fades into a silvery column of fog. Then suddenly a nearby clump of ferns rustles and startles Aikio. His father does not seem afraid of this unsettling scene. Instead, Mikado's face is calm as though he is visiting an old friend. Curiously, a red fox springs from the ferns to land near the Kasaga cedar log where Aikio and Mikado sit. Good morning, Ohio, announces the fox. Be observant, Aikio. You will learn much more if you watch your father's strategies closely as you learn to catch big fish today. The vibrant animal scampers away into a trail lined with lavender and yellow chrysanthemums, humming a cheerful tune. Aikio's eyes become as round as his mother's red lacquered dishes. Surely nothing else strange will happen, Aikio thinks to himself. Without warning, a red-crowned crane swoops from a nearby hinoki pine and lands directly on his shoulder. Scared and shaken, Aikio glances up at his father again. Mikado seems to be more pleased with each appearance of the strange animals. Good morning, Ohio, says the red-crowned crane. Be passionate, Aikio. You will learn much more if you work hard and spend time practicing as you learn to catch big fish today. Then the majestic bird scans the horizon and begins to soar toward Mount Mikasa with power and grace. Aikio is amazed and bewildered. All too soon, Aikio spots a large animal slowly lumbering towards them. It is the largest Asiatic black bear he had ever seen. With delight, Aikio watches as the animal moves closer and begins to speak. Good morning, Ohio. Be relentless, Aikio. You will learn much more if you do not give up. Know that success is within your reach if you learn to catch big fish today. As the Asiatic black bear slowly returns to the nearby dense forest, a Tsushima cat leaps from behind the log and begins purring. Good morning, Ohio. Be focused, Aikio. You will learn much more if you rehearse the steps in your mind as you learn to catch big fish today. The Tsushima cat scampers away with surprising speed into the gray fog. Aikio cannot speak. He stares at his father in amazement. And that word is Tsushima, guys. The Tsushima cat. Slowly, without saying a word, Mikado leads his son from the Nagi forest to Toro Bay with its massive cliffs, enormous waves, and vast ocean waters teeming with large bluefin tuna. For the first time in his life, Aikio is not afraid of big things. He is not afraid of anything. He is refreshed and full of courage. Akio never wants to forget everything he's learned, so he makes little haiku or poems to help him remember what the animals taught him. Swans swim peacefully. My mind is clear and ready, learning like a swan. Bears are very strong. My mind is strong when I learn, never giving up. Foxes watch closely. I learn quickly. When I watch, always have a plan. Cranes fly with great strength. My strength helps my skills grow. To learn is to fly. Cats prowl through the woods. I learn like a cat, searching. Focus on each step. Akio closes his eyes and recalls the dreamlike morning as the words of the animals flow through his mind. Akio suddenly stops loading the heavy nets into the sabani. He stands boldly before his father with the sun and sea as his witnesses and proclaims proudly, I see myself fishing. I see myself catching the big blue fin tuna. The end. Listen, guys, you have big fish to catch. And so we won't let fear or lack of focus stop us from catching the big fish. Dream big. God's got big things ahead for you. I love you. And I want you to know, if you enjoyed this, I'm going to give a Christmas story on Thursday. On Thursday evening, we're going to do a Christmas story. I love you. Want you to enjoy your time out of school. Enjoy time with your family. Have a tremendous week. Stay out of trouble. Do great things. Be the great people that we know you can be. We love you. Your pastor loves you. Your first lady loves you. Your church family loves you. Take care, and we'll see you soon.